So, so Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you again for this session, and thank you again for coming for joining us today again. So, as like yesterday, we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निते नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So maybe you might have this question that why we raise hands while chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is like this raising hands is symptom of surrender to God, and that's why in utter surrender, like I don't depend on anybody other than you. That is what it means. When Draupadi, she was in when the Chir Haran was going on, so her this in assembly, Dushasan was pulling her sari. At that time, she tried first of all to save herself. Later on, with her hands, and then when Dushasan was very powerful, she was not able to do that. Then with her mouth also she tried to grab it, but it was not possible. He was very powerful, and she tried, but it was not possible. And when she understood it is not possible, at that time Draupadi raised her hand like this and loudly chanted, "Hey Govinda, hey Krishna, hey Madhusudana, please protect me," like that. And Krishna, he was in Dwarka at that time. Immediately Krishna came there, and immediately he supplied unlimited number of amount of sari. You all must have heard this in Ramayana. So raising hand while chanting Hare Krishna means that surrender. So Draupadi also chanted this in the same way, raising hands to Krishna and saying, "Oh Krishna, oh Govinda, oh Madhusudana, please protect me." Okay, so again dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He preached the message of Bhagavad Gita all over the world, and we are trying to give a drop of our contribution in that. So we will revise our first chapter, and then we will start with the second chapter. So for that, I would just like to know how many of you are new today for this session. Can you just raise your hand, those who are new? This first time you came today? Okay, Rohit ji, welcome. Okay, okay, okay. All others were there. Okay, thank you. So great to have all of you. And this is as I told yesterday only, that a yagya, and yagya may starting to end. If you are there, then at the end you get full of yagya. So every day will be a new learning for all of us. Every day you will get to know what actually Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita, how Bhagavad Gita is manual in our life. So in the last chapter, first chapter, we saw that the scene was the setting the scene. Okay, all Mahabharat mein, while war was about to start, at that time, what is the condition? How Sanjay is describing everything to Dhritarashtra, how Arjun lost his composure, and he had 5 different reasons why he should not fight, and he was telling all those reasons to Krishna. So these are the reasons, that is compassion, enjoyment, compassion for the people, okay, I will not kill, they are my family members. Then enjoyment, that if I kill them, then whom I will rejoice my enjoyment with. Like for example, you get top result in class, and when you come home to tell somebody, you're very happy to discuss it with somebody, but when you come home you see there is nobody. Okay, family, father is out, mother is out, and you are sitting there alone. So we enjoyment is to discuss with the people, to share the happiness with people. So he said, when my parents are not there or my relatives are not there, then whom I will enjoy with. Then sinful reaction, killing is a sin, correct? So he said, we kill so many people, then that is a sin. Then destruction of tradition, आगे की परंपरा का क्या होगा? And then indecision, at last he said, indecision, I am not able to decide. So these are the 5 reasons, and you can take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this slide. This slide tells the texts which are there. These are the texts in which all these arguments of Arjun are there, and Krishna's refutation now, because Krishna has not spoken anything till now. ठीक है, अभी तक कृष्णा ने कुछ भी नहीं बोला है फर्स्ट चैप्टर में. नाउ कृष्णा विल स्टार्ट टू स्पीक. ठीक है, कृष्णा विल स्टार्ट टू स्पीक नाउ. So these are the verses in which Krishna have answered the questions. So if you read Bhagavad Gita on your own, okay, if you start reading Bhagavad Gita on your own, you may understand, you may read the verse, Sanskrit verse, you may read the meaning, you may understand the meaning also, but what context Krishna, what is the context of this whole chapter, or why this verse is here, what Krishna want to accomplish by speaking like this, that you will not be able to understand. So for that we have to do a thorough study of that, and we have to hear from the pure devotees, hear from those devotees who have understood the words of Krishna, what Krishna wants to say. So the overview of this chapter, second chapter, is GITA. So why we give overview like this every time? So that you can remember. So I hope all of you are having a Bhagavad Gita with you. If you are not having, please get one, because if you have it, then you can read it daily. At the same time these chapters are going on, you have to read it on your own also daily. So these verses which I have spoken here, somebody who has not taken screenshot, they can take. So verses which are written here, if you go through these verses, you will be able to revise. And the context, how these verses came here, why Krishna is speaking about this concept here, that we will come to know when we see the Bhagavad Gita thoroughly, when we go ahead. So in this chapter, second chapter, the concepts are not proper, like not in as if in textbook we have textbook, the concepts are step by step. If we say CBSE NCERT books, so the concepts in 8th standard, then 9th little higher concepts, 10th higher concepts, 11th 12th even higher concepts. So concepts are going step by step. But in Bhagavad Gita it is a conversation between Krishna and Arjun. So we will not be able to get the same kind of step by step information. So here we need to have the knowledge of whole Bhagavad Gita to get that understanding. Like for example, yesterday's class was there, and if after yesterday's class you ask some question to me, and then that question may not be from the concepts which we have taken till now, but that question's answer will be in the ahead in the next chapters which we are going to see. So I may have to speak about the other chapters, like 13 chapters, 12 chapter, whatever chapter. So chapter, like for example, if you ask about Bhakti Yoga, Krishna speaks elaborately in 9th chapter, special chapter only for that Bhakti Yoga. So then I'm speaking from 9th chapter directly, and in this here initially we don't find about Bhakti Yoga, we find about something else, Karma Yoga. First 6 chapters are for Karma Yoga, related to karma. So the concepts are built, what we say, on the basis of the discussion which is going on. And what you will see, very, what we say, uh, very important thing what Arjuna does is he asks questions everywhere. Like Krishna is explaining, Arjuna is telling, these are my 5 questions, Krishna is answering those 5 questions. Till the time Krishna completes those 5 questions, Arjuna has another question for which Krishna will now speak about in the next chapter. Like that, question answer sessions are going on whole Bhagavad Gita. So the second chapter, it is combined, or we can say whole Bhagavad Gita's essence is there in second chapter. So all concepts of Bhagavad Gita are there in detail. But right now, if we speak about all them in detail, that means we are reading whole Bhagavad Gita in one hour. We have to complete, so which is not possible. This chapter itself is not possible to complete in 1 hour. But we are going to see the context, main context, the flow. If we understand, then it will be very easy for us to get the essence or get the crux of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so let's start. So first 1 to 10 verses, Guru, that means Arjun accepts Krishna as Guru. Okay, he surrenders to Krishna. And second is identity. Krishna tells Arjun about his identity. That what is your identity, and according to identity, what you should do. Then about two dharmas, that is Swadharma, the dharma related to body, and the dharma Paro dharma, that is dharma related to soul. So two dharmas, about two dharma Krishna speaks to Arjun. And last one is Ananda, in which he tells about the process by which we can achieve God, that is topmost processes. So let's move to the first, that is G, that is Guru. So Arjun is now telling to Krishna that now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Yashreyashan nishchitam bruhitan me. Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. So he's telling कि out of miserly weakness, ठीक है, I forgot, ठीक है, what is actual dharma. Yash Shreyashan Nishchitam Bruhitan. Whatever is in my Shreya means what is good for me, you tell me, and I am Shishyasteham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapannam. Before this, we were friends, but now I am your Shishya and you are my Guru. That is what Arjuna is telling. So now, and I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. So surrender means what? Arjun has surrendered now. The relationship which was friend relationship between two friends, now it is relationship of a teacher or a guru and a disciple. So Arjun is telling I surrender. So we surrender to somebody, that means what? For knowledge, we have to surrender to somebody. For understanding knowledge, for getting mercy, getting blessings. When we are in problem, we want to find solutions. So we should surrender to authority. So what is that surrender? That is eager to learn, humble and acknowledging weaknesses. If we are not humble, if we say, oh Guru, oh teacher, please tell me. So that is not the way one should be. Bhagavad Gita says, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroreva Sahishnuna. One should be like humble like blade of grass in front of teacher. That is the way one goes to teacher, or one expresses himself to teacher. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena seva. So our Vedic texts give huge amount of knowledge about how one should express himself in front of teacher, how one should surrender in front of teacher. He should Tadviddi pranipatena, sit at the feet of teacher and ask for knowledge, desiring a bona fide teacher to guide through the challenges of life. So when we surrender, we desire a bona fide teacher. Bona fide teacher means what? He should be in parampara. I say anybody person comes up and says, I am God, says God is like that, this is that, and we surrender to that person, that is not correct. No. We surrender. When you surrender, surrendering means a process in which we are giving everything of our life to our teacher, and we are asking him, you tell me what should I do in my life. That is surrender. And for that, first thing is we should search for a bona fide teacher. A bona fide teacher will guide. Otherwise, we see that there are many people in the area or in our city or country, people who are ready to speak. If we ask a doctor about any engineering instrument, doctor will say, no, I don't know about that. If we ask an engineer about the instruments of medical instruments like ventilators and other things, engineer will say, I also don't know about those things. Or any medical information, if you ask to engineer, if you ask to engineering information to a pharmacist, he will say, I don't know about that. But if we ask about God to a doctor, to an engineer, to a pharmacist, everybody will speak something. Somebody will say, I think he is God, I think that is God, I think this is the process to reach God. So everybody will speak on spirituality, but we should accept a bona fide teacher. That is very important. So precondition, what is the precondition? Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna. What is the precondition? If we want to surrender, it takes lot of courage and humility to accept failure and one's own weaknesses. So Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna. Till first chapter, Krishna did not speak a word. And even now, till the time Arjuna is telling, I am your disciple now, and as a disciple, you instruct me. Then now Krishna will instruct. So for that, to accept one's problems or accept one's weakness, it takes huge courage, huge humility for that, to accept that. But unless we accept it, we cannot succeed in life. So this statement, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. So if you want to succeed in our life, we have to have a father, or we have to surrender some in front of somebody. Without that, we cannot get knowledge. This is very important. So stubborn people who don't want to surrender to anybody, who don't want to listen to anybody, if we don't have that attitude, then what is our condition? Our condition is like this bottle with a closed cork. It is closed. So now whatever water I put, it will not enter inside. So our condition is like that if we are not surrendered. So first, yes, it is there that we have to search for a bona fide person, but once we search, then we should surrender to him. That is very important. So now Arjun has told, oh Krishna, okay, Krishna, I'm surrendering to you, and please now tell me what is perfect, what is good for me. So the first thing, first reason Arjun told Krishna that compassion. Okay, I have compassion for people, and now Krishna will refute that argument of Arjun. That compassion, you are speaking about compassion. That Arjun said, if I kills people, then I am feeling compassionate for their bodies. So Krishna is now telling about a new concept which many of us actually know, but we don't know. That is, who are you? That Krishna is telling. So Krishna is telling about something different, something which we haven't heard till now. That is our identity. That we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. We are soul within this body. Srila Prabhupada explains it with a very nice analogy of a car and a driver. Like a car will not budge an inch without driver. Similarly, our body will not work, will not be living without soul in our body. So the soul is the life force or the seat of consciousness within our body. So if we don't know that we are soul, and if we see ourselves as body, then that is called identity crisis. Identity crisis. Like a crazy person, he forgets his identity, and then he is moving on roads, throwing stones at somebody and speaking whatever. He doesn't know what he's speaking. So identity crisis, misplaced, mistaken identity, unreal understanding of self. So if we see now, we have taken birth in India. So we may say, I am an Indian and I hate Pakistani. Okay. If suppose we would have taken birth in Pakistan, then we would have said, oh, I am Pakistani and India should be killed, Indians should be killed, and India should be defeated, and what all these things. So it is actually a misplaced identity crisis which we are having. And we see when we take birth, we don't even have a name, we don't have any identity with us, but as soon as we grow, we are being given a name. For example, Sumit, Amit, whatever name, Amit, Rohit, whatever name is given, and that name we carry with us. Then next identity we get is some school, some certificate, some college degrees. These all identities we get. Now if we become engineer, somebody calls engineer, then we feel attached. Oh, engineers, this program is for engineers. Okay, I am an engineer. Then country, city, we get go on getting all these identities. But these identities are not real identities. They have been put on us, but actual identity is not that. What is this idea of self? Krishna speaks elaborately in Bhagavad Gita. Hardly 2-3 topics are there which are so elaborately spoken by Krishna. First one is this about soul, and second one is about three modes. Wonderful concepts. It will change your thinking process when we come to know about all these things. So Krishna is telling this verse to Arjuna. Krishna is telling, dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantaras praptim dhiras tatra namuyate. Krishna is telling, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Krishna is telling Arjun, you are feeling compassion for these people, but whom you are killing? You are just killing the body. There is soul inside, and that soul is the person, okay, which you are speaking about, which is real. So the body keeps on changing. Like you see this picture, this man, his body was some 5 kgs, okay, 5 kg, 20, 25, 40, 50, 60, whatever kg, and age also is increasing, okay. So but the man is the same. This man 5 years old, 25 years old, 50 years old, and now 70, 80 years old. Man's body is changing, but there is a same thing within this body that is not changing, that is eternal, that is common, that is part of God, that is soul. So this concept of Bhagavad Gita is actually our real identity, which nobody in science does not tell us. Science does not tell us about these things. So what does Bhagavad Gita tell about our body and soul? So composition of ourselves, Bhagavad Gita tells that we have 3 bodies. Just a second, I will use pen and this. So Bhagavad Gita tells about these 3 bodies. First one, outside body, is the gross body. Okay, outside body is the gross body. This gross body is made up of earth, water, air, fire, ether. We call them as pancha dhatu, so pancha tattva, pancha dhatu. So earth, air, fire, water, ether, which is the body which you can see right now, okay, jo bahar wala body hai. Then there is soul which is inside, which we talked about, okay, that is Sachidananda. Bhagavad Gita says it is Sachidananda, that is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. That is soul, which is part and parcel of God. And there is another body in the middle, that is the subtle body. There is one more body. So we are not one body, we are 3 bodies. So अरे मुझे पता नहीं था ये body है मेरे पास, लेकिन मुझे पता नहीं था. Very important concept, that when we die, what is actually happening is this body, this gross body is actually dead, okay, it is separated, but the subtle body and soul, it remains and it goes to new body. So after death, the subtle body goes to next body. It's like old shirt to new shirt. एक शर्ट है, ये शर्ट निकाल दिया, next body I am taking, wearing another new shirt. So the body is changing. So now somebody may say, what are the proofs for soul? ठीक है, soul है करके proof क्या है? So we say somebody dies, कोई मर जाता है, तो हम क्या बोलते हैं मरने के बाद उसको? We say, अरे हमको छोड़ के चले गए, he has gone, where you have gone, and we cry. So actually who has gone? The body is there, whole body is there, every hair on the body is as it is, the weight is there, everything is there. Who actually has gone? So the soul has gone, the soul within has left the body, and now body cannot do anything, body is dead now. Like a driver, if driver goes out of car will not move. Similar thing is, this is a similar thing. And what is this subtle body? Subtle body consists of mind, false ego, and intelligence. So we have a mind, okay. Now see, when we are sleeping in the night, so while sleeping, our body is at rest, body is sleeping fully. Then what is the thing that is active, which is making us dream? Making us dream of various things. We see many things in our dream. Also, we might see ourselves. We might see our head being cut off by somebody. So that we are seeing in dream. So what is that thing which is making us dream like that? So it is quite, at that time we feel that it is reality. So what is that thing that is working? That is mind. Okay, and intelligence, we read and we take knowledge and we take information. We are studying so much. If a doctor is there, then doctor, he has given 5-6 years for studying the body of people, studying all the organs and all these studies, and now when he treats a person, he actually has some higher intelligence than what we have, okay, or knowledge, we can say, whatever. So intelligence does not just mean knowledge. Intelligence also means decision making power, either to choose yes or no, what is right, what is wrong, what is good for me, what is bad for me. If you can choose that, that means we are intelligent. So all these things are in subtle body, they are present. Because if we say, if we have only gross body, then that does not make any sense, because a stone also has gross body, a tree has, but tree also has subtle body. Every living organism has these 3 things. Especially we are seeing about humans, we are a well developed organism. We have what we say, we have quality of understanding who is God. Actually we can do jigyasa. So Vedic Shastra say Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Only in human body we are able to think about all these things. Otherwise, it is not possible in animal body to think about these things. So our we have a soul, we have body. Soul has a body. So the gross body is left when we die. It is separated when we die, but the subtle body is not separated at the time of death. But by practicing spiritual life, when we can purify our subtle body and it disappears, then only the soul remains. Such thing is called as liberation. That is another definition of liberation. Okay? So subtle body is left at the time of liberation. Only great souls can do that. And once you are liberated, that means no more taking birth again and again. So more of these concepts are there ahead. I don't want to tell all the things here only, but very important thing which we have understood is about soul. And Krishna tells elaborately about soul now. So we will just uh, go through fastly through all these things. That is, soul can never be cut by pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. That means no material elements or material things can affect soul, because it is indestructible. It is part of God. These are the characters of soul that Krishna explains from 2.12 ahead, 2.25, even 28 ahead also he goes. So soul is eternal, soul is unborn, indestructible, immeasurable, cannot be burnt, dried, or wet. It is invisible, inconceivable, and influence of soul is all over this body. See, we have influence, soul has influence on this body, but soul does not have influence of on others' body. So we cannot feel others' pain, but we can feel pain in our body. Correct? So analogy is like the sun pervades entire universe and maintains. Similarly, light of soul maintains the material body. So because the soul is there in this body, that's why this body is working. Okay. So conclusion, the spirit soul is eternal, indestructible, while material nature is temporary. Body is temporary, soul is eternal. Because of this, one should not be bewildered by inevitable destruction of the material body. That is what Krishna wants to tell to Arjun, that if the body dies, then we should understand that soul never dies. So if our near one, near dear one, if somebody leaves his body, somebody dies, so we should know that the soul hasn't died. Soul has moved to his next destination, next body. Rather, one should remain fixed in prescribed duties which purify and allow one to realize the eternal self. So, what we should do then, if we understand that we are not this body, we are soul, so we should remain fixed in our duty now and then purify ourselves for realizing ourselves. That is very important thing we should do if we come to know about soul. If you don't know, come to know about soul, if like many spiritualists or many people who want to practice spirituality, but they don't know ABC about soul, because Bhagavad Gita they haven't read. So they, on sentimental basis, they will try to practice anything. But till the time we don't know that we are not these bodies, spirituality is just a show off. There is no base to spirituality. Again, Krishna is telling, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityor dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apiharyarthe na tvam shochitum arhasi. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So, Krishna has put now duty in picture. Duty has come in picture. Your body is not eternal. You are not body, you are soul. Okay. And now when you are soul and you have been given this body, it is not that you say I will do whatever with this body. Like a driver is given car and he says what I will do with this car is I will use this car for what we say, for children to play or whatever. No, I will use this as a AC room and in this I will sleep. No, what is the reason, what is the use of car should be used for traveling. Correct. So similarly, this body also has some purpose, which has with some purpose this body is given to us. So that purpose we should know, and we should not avoid our duties. We should what we say, we should not lament in unavoidable discharge of our duty. So what is our duty according to duty? There are two dharmas which we have to see. So I'm just connecting the things. Now Krishna tells about two dharmas. So if we see we are just body, so what is our dharma or what is our duty? So we will say our duty is, my duty is to protect my family, to take care of my family. My duty is to go for job work. My duty is for society. My duty for country. So these all duties, they are related to body, and they are not sufficient. Only if we do bodily duties, then we actually are not doing our actual duties. So there are two duties which we have to perform. One is swadharma and second is nitya dharma. Nitya dharma is related to soul. So there are duties of body and there are duties of soul. There is food for driver and there is petrol for car. These are two different things. Unfortunately, 99.99% people nowadays only know about the swadharma, which is also they are doing wrong swadharma, wrong things they are doing in their life. But hardly very few know about the nitya dharma which they have to do. So we have to understand, we don't have to only take care of our family, only earn money and only live a life of happiness and peaceful and just pamper our body. This body is meant for something. What it is, as I told you, athato brahma jigyasa, therefore inquire about God. That is one of the duty of this body. So these two duties are explained here in this slide. There is one duty towards our body, that is taking care of family and job. But there is another duty towards the soul. And what is that duty? To understand God. And how we do that? That is by chanting Krishna's name, reading Bhagavad Gita, which we all of you have started now coming here. So reading Bhagavad Gita, doing service for God, understanding who I am, what should I do in my life, what is the reason I have been given this birth, and how I can preach the message of God to others, read about it. That is called as self-realization. How I can do that? So these are two duties. If we just do bodily duty, that is not sufficient. And if we just do the nitya dharma or the spiritual process, that is not possible by us, because we have this body and we are attached to this body. It is not possible to not take care of this body and do all these things. So now see, many people say that Bhagavad Gita will ask you to renounce everything. Yes, many people might have this concept that Bhagavad Gita will ask you to renounce everything. Tum Bhagavad Gita pad liye, that means you will go now, you have to give up everything and go to Himalayas. No, Bhagavad Gita is not telling like that. Though those people, they haven't read Bhagavad Gita. This is the proof. Bhagavad Gita tells you about both duties to be performing. You have to perform your prescribed duties, or we can say conditional duties with the body, that is Swadharma, and you have to do the duty of the soul also. So Bhagavad Gita tells you try to do this duty and this duty together. ये दोनों आपको करना है, then you are perfect. Then you are doing the perfect thing, and that is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna. See, if we just take care of cage, like this woman, if she has cage and inside there is bird, and the woman only takes care of the cage, polishes the cage and wipes it daily with cloth and water, washes it, everything. But if she does not feed the bird inside, then the bird will die. Okay, the bird will die. Similarly, if we just take care of our body, then what happens? Our soul doesn't die. But what happens is we are neglecting our duty as a soul, as a body. Why we have got this human body? We are neglecting that duty. So जिसके लिए हमें ये मिला है, the manual says we have got this body and how you should use this body. So the same thing we are not doing what this body is meant for. Like I give you example of car. And now Krishna tells about the higher taste. Tam drishtva nivartate. So what is that? So we'll go ahead. This is very important concept now to understand how we enter deep into the problems of life if we don't control our senses. So Krishna has started telling about now senses to us. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So our duty is there. While doing our duty, our senses are able to distract us. Okay? Senses can distract us. Even one sense gets uncontrolled, then it will forcibly carry away our mind. So as I told you, it is conversation. So you may say immediately from soul, how we have come to senses. Okay? So Krishna has told about soul. First thing, Krishna explained that you are not body, you are soul. And then Krishna told about duties, that it is your duty to perform on soul platform also, and one duty on material platform. Both you have to do, bodily duty and duty of soul. Now Krishna is telling, For doing this duty, what are the problems? Your senses are very strong. Our senses are very strong. They can carry away our mind in different direction. Okay? So even a man of discrimination, that means a man of good intelligence, his mind will also get carried away. And now wonderfully Krishna explains what we say diagram, or with this step by step formula, how we fall down. So what happens is, sense objects are there, we contemplate on it. We contemplate on sense object. See, we have to move it on our duty, but there is a sense object somewhere. Suppose eyes are the senses, or tongue is the sense, ears, nose, skin, these are senses. These senses may ask the soul to move to a different platform. And what is that platform? What happens is, step by step, senses get attracted. Senses, they get attracted to some sense object, and they see the sense object. They contemplate on the sense object, again seeing it more, thinking about it more. Then they get attached. Then we get attached to that sense object. Then once we get attached to this sense object, then attachment increases, and it is called as lust. Lust means I want it. I want it, mujhe wo chahiye. And if lust is unfulfilled, what happens is, we become angry. So example to explain this is, suppose for example you have diabetes. Okay, diabetes hai. Or you are walking on a street, you see a shop, bakery shop, and you see there are cakes placed there. You see rasgullas, a bakery shop, sweet shop, whatever, rasgullas are there. And you see that, and you stop there on the road seeing the rasgullas, and your mouth is watering, and you feel I want to eat it. But then you move forward, you go ahead, you say no, 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 I will not, I will not. But then again you think about that, you think more about it. Then what happens is, you feel attached to it, and then lust increases. And once lust increases, attachment increases, then immediately we will not think about anything, and we will go there in the shop, and we'll say, oh, take this 100 rupees and give me rasgullas. And then we will take it. Now we have taken, and now if you want to eat it, immediately we see that somebody of our family, he comes there and he says, hey, what are you doing? You have diabetes and you cannot do it, it is prohibited. And you become very angry, because it is unfulfilled. Okay? I want to eat it, unfulfilled. We may beat that person, we may say, oh, who are you to speak in between? No, I want to eat it. That is anger. So lust actually gets converted to anger. Further, it doesn't stop here. Krishna is explaining furthermore. Dhyato vishayan pumsa. This is the verse. Sangaste supajayate, sangat sanjayate kama. Kama means lust. Kamat krodho bhijayate. From kama, krodh comes. Okay. If lust is not fulfilled, if lust is fulfilled, then what happens is, then greedy. We becomes greedy. We become greedy, and we eat more and more, more and more. That is called greed. Correct. So if lust is not fulfilled, we become angry. Okay. And what happens is, anger causes bewilderment. Kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati samoha. Bewildered. We don't know what to do, what is right, what is wrong. We forget that. We lose our intelligence. Kamat bhavati samoha, samoha smriti vibhrama. स्मृति वंशात बुद्धिनाशो, बुद्धिनाशात प्रणश. सब खत्म हो जाता है, बुद्धिनाश हो जाता है, कुछ नहीं कर सकता आदमी, कुछ नहीं सोच सकता. तो वो तो मैंने एक डायबिटिक पर्सन का स्वीट का एक सिंपल एग्जांपल लिया. बट वी सी सो मेनी क्राइम्स आर हैपनिंग नाउअडेज, रेप, सुसाइड एंड सोशल क्राइम्स, ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो दिस इज the process behind that. And Krishna is telling about the root cause of all these things. That is, what is the root cause? That root cause is that we don't know, or we have not realized that we are not this body. If we know that we are body, if we know that we are soul, then we won't have attraction for the things of this world, which will actually cause problem in future. It doesn't mean that you should not eat rasgullas. I don't mean like that. But on our desire, or our, we should, rasgullas or the sense object should not control us. We should have control over us, when I want to eat, when I don't want to eat. That is a controlled person. But if we don't control anger, and anger controls us, like for example anger, if we say, many people have problem with anger. They say, oh, I feel angry and I cannot control my anger. So anger is not in itself bad, but if anger controls us instead of we control anger, then that is bad. We should be able to control anger and use it for the purposes it is required for. Like Hanumanji used his anger to burn Lanka of Ravan, and that anger was good, that service was good. But anger in anger, if we do some wrong activity, if we do activity which is not correct, then that means anger is controlling us. We are not controlling anger. So we should know. So these two verses from 2.62 2.63 combined verses, wonderful verses, and 67 का भी इसमें part डाल दिया, ऐड कर दिया समझने के लिए. So these 2-3 verses, they explain us about the lower taste. So we go down, how we go down. Now how we come up. So again Krishna tells to Krishna Arjun, though now again we come to soul. Okay, it is a conversation. So Krishna told about soul, told how soul goes down with the help of senses. If senses are uncontrolled, then Krishna is telling what should be done now. So Krishna is telling Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. That though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, उसको sense enjoyment से restrict कर सकते हैं, the taste for sense object remains. Although you may say, I will not see those rasgullas, मैं आंखों पे ऐसे हाथ रख लूंगा, I will not see those rasgullas, but the taste for sense object, it remains, Krishna says. So what should we do then? Seizing such engagements. रसगुल्ले को तरफ देखो मत, that is good, ठीक है, but experience a higher taste. एक्सपीरियंस हायर टेस्ट परम दृष्टवा निवर्तते. जैसे कोई बच्चा है, वो मिट्टी खा रहा है, and if I ask him, hey, give up that, don't eat what we say, soil or dirt, that child will not listen to me. But if I say, oh beta, take this dairy milk, take this 5-star, so then he don't have to tell him that to give up that dirt. He will immediately take up the 5-star or take up the Cadbury and eat it. So if we get higher taste, we will surely lose the lower taste. That is very important part which we learn here now. That is learning for us today, that higher taste के पीछे भागेंगे तो लोअर टेस्ट अपने आप चला जाएगा. लोअर टेस्ट को हटाने के लिए अलग से एनर्जी डालने की जरूरत नहीं है. Like for example, we are sometimes we are in such situations, such mindsets, or such kind of cravings we have, which actually make us more and more degraded. We see that what activities I am doing, I never thought that I can do such kind of activities. My parents or my relatives, nobody of them might have thought about all these things, that I will be doing these things, but I am doing these things. So what is the reason for these things? Because we have forgotten our identity and we don't have a higher taste. And that's what we see in the spiritual Rishi Munis of Vedic times. We see that they give up everything. All the kings, they give up everything. Raja Bharat, Yudhishthir Maharaj, all whoever king you can say, you might be knowing, all of them left their what we say, kingdoms, or were not attached to their kingdoms. Even though they were working, they were living a life of kshatriya, but if somebody asks for whole kingdom, they were ready to give the kingdom. That is actually the level of a person who is on the soul platform. He actually knows what is my duty and what is not, and for that duty he will not think a bit to go away from that duty, whatever problem may come. So in short, if we say duty should be carried on, body keeps on changing. हमारे ड्यूटी पे हमें कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना चाहिए. And we have two duties we saw. One is on the basis of swadharma and one is nitya dharma. So what is that higher taste? One who is able to withdraw his senses. How to get that higher taste? We are seeing here. So see cockroach, sorry cockroach, no, tortoise. So tortoise, how tortoise goes inside the shell when there is some problem comes, or when their animal is there, when somebody is going to attack. So similarly, we should control our senses when they are not what we say, when the places we want them not to be entangled into, when we don't want to use our senses, when we don't want the senses to engage in abominable activities, we should withdraw them. So one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. That is perfect consciousness. So again, taking the same example of a diabetes person, if he goes in the shop also, if somebody offers him rasgulla and if he don't want to eat, he will not eat it. Why? Because he has controlled his senses. He is on such a level that he has controlled his senses. How is it possible? Again and again, he's doing the same thing. He goes in front of shop, even though he can see the rasgullas, but he's not seeing that. Once, twice, daily, if he does that, he will build up this kind of determination to not use senses in wrong direction. So 2.59 says that though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense enjoyment remain. This we have discussed. So we should have a higher taste. If we have a higher taste, we can give up that. And that higher taste comes by spiritual practice, by chanting the holy names. So again, going ahead, a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who tries to satisfy such desires. Na kama kami. So Krishna is telling about a Sthita Pragya person. Sthita Pragya. Sthita, fixed. Pragya means intelligence. How your intelligence can be fixed to perform your duty. So now next class, we will be discussing in detail about duty, our nishkam karma. About that we will see detail how we will perform, how we should perform our duty, and what should be the mindset behind performing duties, that Krishna will tell. So that we are going to see. But how we can be fixed in performing our duty, how we can be one pointed in our duty, how we can be sthita pragya. So by practicing controlling senses, this is the first learning which Krishna is giving here. We have to learn to control our senses, and controlling senses means controlling our desires, correct? Because you see rasgulla and desire for eating comes, correct? So controlling senses and controlling desires are quite related. So control sense, then desires also get controlled. And where to put them, that is another question, where to put them. So that has to be, it has to be put towards Krishna, or towards God consciousness, towards performing spiritual life, towards attaining love for God. So if we do that, we will be doing our duty like Arjuna did. You cannot, many, some people say, oh, if you read Bhagavad Gita you will renounce everything, but Krishna hasn't told anything about renunciation. Krishna has told to Arjuna to fight. So Bhagavad Gita tells us to fight. Bhagavad Gita tells us to perform our duty, not to give up duty. Very wrong conception of people that spirituality makes us renounce everything prematurely. That is not possible. That is not correct. Spirituality actually should help you to perform your duties nicely, but both the duties, not just one. That is very important. So we'll see overview of the chapter. That is Gita, Gita. Okay, G for what is, we saw Guru, that is what is surrender. If you have questions, you can please put it in the chat box. We will be taking it now after this overview. So Guru, what is surrender, that we have seen under the G aspect. Surrender, we should be eager to associate with a bona fide person. We should be very humble in front of teacher, like Arjun was there. Okay, and what are the preconditions? Similar, we have to be very courageous, we have to be very humble, and it requires a lot of strength to accept one's weakness. But we have to do that. Without that, knowledge will not come. If you see we are equal with somebody, knowledge will not transfer. Potential difference. Okay? If difference is there, then knowledge will transfer. That's why हमारे घर के ऊपर, on our like at the top of home, we have water tank. Why don't we have water tank below? Even if we have below, we have to put the water up on the tank, because if it is up, then it will come in our taps. So similarly, if we take a lower position in front of teacher, in front of Guru, in front of Krishna, to hear Bhagavad Gita, then we will understand. If we try to find out faults in the thing, if we try to see ourselves more or equal to God, then we'll not be able to understand. Some people say you are God. No, Baba, how you can be God? We don't know that we are in body or soul. ये हमें पता ही नहीं है. Who can know I am body? I am not body. I am soul. One who has created it, correct? जिसने बनाया है वही बता सकता है कि बॉडी है और सोल है, तुम अलग अलग हो. नहीं तो हमें पता ही नहीं चलेगा. Many people die without having this understanding that मैं ये बॉडी नहीं हूँ बाबा, मैं ये सोल हूँ. सोल चेंज होता रहता है बॉडी में. एंड रीइंकार्नेशन के कितने सारे स्टोरीज है. सो मेनी स्टोरीज ऑफ रीइंकार्नेशन आर देयर. रीइंकार्नेशन मींस पुनर्जन्म. Reincarnation are there, where small children of age 5 or 6, they remember their past lives. And there is a scientist, you can search about him, Ian Stevenson. I'll just write down his name. Ian Stevenson. You can search about him if you want more in detail about this reincarnation. This person has studied a lot on reincarnation. He wrote many books. He actually used to go to small children. He had a team, and they used to go to small children of age 5 or 6, because if somebody of us is somebody like of our age, if he's speaking about reincarnation or I was this, I was that, then we may not believe, because he may cook some stories. But the small children 5-year age, how they are able to speak? Some children, they are totally speaking some other language which has not been taught to their parents, by their parents. Some children, they say that I am from this and this place, and this Ian Stevenson, he used to carry them to that place and ask the child, okay, explain me this, where you used to live, and then child used to answer all the question. He used to say, I used to sleep here, she is my wife. 5-year-old child, and 50-year or 60-year-old woman, and he's telling she is my wife, or she was my wife, like that. So they remember everything, and some of them, they told the hidden things which nobody in the family knew. One one boy, he told to his last wife, like a past life's wife, that used to call me with this name, and she was shocked, because both of them only knew, and how this child knows. There are many stories. BBC also has done research, and so many things you cannot deny. Nobody can deny about reincarnation. So that is soul. Okay, soul is passing into new life. Then that is our identity. We talked in detail about the soul, about reincarnation. Okay, then two dharmas, there is duty of body and duty of soul, and then ananda. If we have lower taste, if we are engaged into the things which senses tell us, senses are bad masters, because they are never satisfied. Okay, senses हमें, if senses say I want to eat this, I want to eat this, tongue says मुझे खाना है खाना है खाना है, okay, you feed it, next day it will ask again, next day again. So they are bad masters which never get satisfied. So what we have to do is we have to control the senses, and we have to get the higher taste of spiritual life. That is very important. So with this we finish our session, but at the end, I would like to tell you again what we did not do yesterday. We will chant some mantras, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for some time. So, as I told you, this chanting mantra means it controls our mind. Mantrayate iti mantra. Okay, so one which controls the mind, that is mantra, and at the same time, mantra is a direct reciprocation, or we can say a direct connection with God, direct connection with Krishna when we chant this mantra. So this mantra is purifying mantra. It purifies our subtle body. And if we just hear like Dhritarashtra, Sanjay told to Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra just heard whatever is going on, but there was no transformation. So we should not approach Bhagavad Gita just for information. Oh, I got wonderful information today. Yes, that is correct, but it should also ट्रांसफॉर्म इनटू ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन. इंफॉर्मेशन से ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होना चाहिए हमारे अंदर. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हैज टू बी डन. That is very important. So I request all of you, please, all of you can sit straight, and we will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for around few minutes. Okay, or we can chant on your fingers like this. So uh, approximately we'll chant 18 times. ठीक है, 18 ये है ना बीच में, these all 18, so we'll chant 18 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and from tomorrow we can chant more also. Okay, so all of you can repeat after me the mantra. After this we will chant. Before chanting, we chant this mantra for invoking auspiciousness and for removing all the offenses while chanting. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, all of us can chant now. So I am chanting here. All of you can chant there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. So this mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it has capacity to deliver us. It is the only means, as it is written in this shloka of Kali Santran Upanishad. It is mentioned in many other scriptures also. This mantra is called as Mahamantra. Just by chanting this mantra, we can perfect our lives, and that is the duty of our soul. So of now we have chanted 18 times, but if we chant 108 times, then that is called as one round, one month, one round. So better is to chant 108 times. So we will try to implement it from tomorrow. From tomorrow we will chant it 108 times. So you will personally see transformation in your life by chanting the mantra, because it is directly connecting to soul. So that is feeding the soul, and when we feed the soul, bodily conception, okay, is overpowered by our spirit. Okay, so we are in this body, but we are not being controlled of this body. Our thought process is not just on the bodily level. Body level thought process means what? I want this, is I like this thing, I want this thing, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy this body, me and mine. जो मेरा है यही चीजें सही है, जो मुझे अच्छा लगता है वही. But what is actually good for us, we understand when we come to soul platform. So soul platform is a wonderful thing. We come to know, we have come to know on this in this chapter. So questions, if you have, please put in the chat box. The question is, how can we control anger? Not because of lust, but because of someone who tortures or irritates us. See, as we discussed, anger is not in itself bad, but anger actually has various roots to it. One root we saw today is lust, that is lust, and another root is actually passion. So in future chapters we are going to see, but anger arises from passion. So there are three modes Bhagavad Gita tells us about, jo aage hai, but in short, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Passion we are discussing here. So anger comes out of passion. So when we are passionate, we are prone to anger more than when we are in goodness. Like if we are in temple in morning times, these are all goodness times. So at that time, or goodness places, at that time we may not feel angry, anger will not come up. But when we are at the places there is passion, like for example, the places like hard work is going on, we have so many targets to complete, and we are totally into passionate zone. So if we are into that zone, then actually anger may arise. It is quite easy for anger to come up. Many things we have to control for controlling passion. In future chapters we are going to see that, but in short, we have to control what we eat. Eating very spicy food stuff, associating with people who are passionate, then all these things will arouse anger within us. So then we are like habituated, will be habituated to what we say, get upset on small things, speak very angrily to any person. Even if the person is good to us, we can speak wrong to that person also, we become very angry. Like nowadays we see children, small children, they speak like anything to their parents. They say, papa क्यों ऐसा कर रहे हैं, नहीं मुझे ये नहीं करना है, why are you doing like this, I want to do this thing. So how they are becoming angry? Because mind is not controlled. Mind पूरा passion में चला गया, ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है. Immediately you open mobile, you see 100 messages from WhatsApp, Instagram. So पूरा mind all the time क्या है, passion में है. All the time ये करो वो करो. Anytime we are seeing TV channel, खट 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 खट, हम लोग एक channel से दूसरे channel पे जा रहे हैं. That all things issue, we are into passionate zones, and thus we feel tortured. Thus we feel upset on even small things which people do. So passion is one of the source for anger. And then moreover, another thing to give, or we say, if we look from another angle, then anger actually, because of our lack of identity, that we are identifying ourselves with body more. and we see that whatever happening with the body is actually happening with me, then we become angry. So like for example, if somebody speaks ill about Hinduism, we feel bad. If we are Hindu, okay, we feel bad. Why? Because we think that I am Hindu, or I am my body, and I am Brahman, I am Kshatriya, or Brahman, and by caste we say caste, say Brahman hu, ye hu, wo hu. So if somebody says to Brahman something, or if somebody says what, so that is actually it is related to God also. But I am just telling on the bodily platform, if we attach, if we feel ourselves to be this and this, if we say I am very beautiful, and if somebody says you are not beautiful, you are very ugly, so that hurts us, because we are actually identifying with our body a lot. So that also arises anger. So anger in itself actually has a lot of roots, but I will tell you one short solution for that. There are many solutions which doctors give and many people give. They say control, speak 1 2 3 4 5 6, wait before becoming angry. ये सब short term solution, but root क्या है? Root is knowing that I am not body, I am soul, and practicing Krishna consciousness. So what is the solution for coming out of passion is that we try to develop a spiritual routine. Daily reading Bhagavad Gita for some time, or daily hearing of Bhagavad Gita for some time, daily chanting, it will 110%, I'm telling, it will change your behavior. It will stop you from becoming angry. Less frequently you will become angry. It will help a lot. Okay. Next question. If I control my senses and meditate myself, why do I need Guru? That is very important question you have asked. Okay. Why do we need Guru? That is very important. See, if we want to learn karate, simple karate, if you want to learn karate or boxing, we require guru, we require teacher. All olympics, even cricketers, they require teacher. First, when I was child, I used to think, why cricketers require teacher or coach, why they require that? But actually it is needed. It is needed for understanding basic levels of science and maths. We require teachers, we require books, we require college authorities or school teachers to teach us. Then this vast knowledge of Krishna consciousness or vast knowledge of Vedic knowledge about God, why we won't require any teacher? Correct. So we require teacher in everything, every part of our life. So for spiritual life also the same thing. Because if we say Bhagavad Gita has more than 600 interpretations or commentaries in the world. 600. Okay, बहुत सारे. So people have commented a lot. Every person has commented a lot. And the bad commentaries are those who have tried to comment on Bhagavad Gita on their own. See, Vedic scriptures को समझने के लिए, first of all, as I told yesterday, 12 years we have to study Sanskrit first of all. उसके बाद में हम आगे समझ पाएंगे. So बाद में समझने के लिए भी every verse will give two different meanings. Then what we can do? So how to understand the concept? Okay, or context, we can say how to understand the concept, context. Whole life will go in this way. There are many people who are just, who have given whole life just behind just talking about intellectual subjects. In they are leading YouTubers now. They talk about intellectual subject matters. They talk about many things. They have become motivational speakers or whatever. But if you see within their hearts, they are totally shallow hearts. Khali hai pura. They are, what we say, they are finding happiness within themselves, but they are not able to get it. So dry है, पूरा dry है. आप देखेंगे तो why it is so? Because no connection with God, no feeding to soul. Just bodily level पे आप करेंगे तो there is no happiness. That's why we say Americans are very happy. Who says Americans are very happy? According to a survey, every third American goes to a psychiatrist. Every third American. That means psychiatrist also goes to another psychiatrist. So if people have to visit psychiatrists, that means, you know, we can say that so many people are visiting. That means we can understand, are they happy? The suicide rate is topmost there. The crime rate is topmost. So what is happiness then? Where is happiness? Just having money and having all the resources, that is not happiness. Happiness is the symptom of heart, soul. So if soul is getting satisfied, if we are feeding soul with Krishna consciousness, with the names of God, with the service, if we offer food to God and eat it, actually that satisfies soul. And how you understand that? Your desire for hankering, we can say, desire hankering for sense object will reduce. We understand that. So that is another very important thing to understand, that I am not body, I am soul. Yes, next question is about fruits of action and getting out of karma cycle. Yes, please wait for 1-2 more chapters, because next chapter is karma yoga. Third chapter will answer about this. Fifth chapter also is karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So that also we have to see. So third and fifth chapter will surely answer your question. Yes, okay. Hare Krishna, thank you. Okay, Ankit ji is asking, soul is made of, or physical state क्या है उसका soul का, and not after someone has died. See, soul, हम दो वर्ड्स यूज करते हैं, एक लिविंग एंटिटी और एक सोल. ठीक है. सोल इज व्हाट? सोल इज सम द आत्मा, एंड लिविंग एंटिटी मीन्स द आत्मा विद इन द बॉडी. Embodied soul, we can say. So right now we are all are embodied souls. That means soul with a covering of body. Okay. But when soul comes out of this body, and if he gives up the subtle body also, then that soul is part and parcel of God himself. And what are his properties of that soul? That is Satchidanand. It is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So it is part of God. Now, matter and spirit, these are two different things. They are not same. मैटर की तरह हम नहीं देख सकते सोल को. मैटर इज समथिंग डिफरेंट. सो मैटर क्या होता जाता है? मैटर गोज ऑन बिकमिंग सटल. लाइक अर्थ है, अर्थ से ज्यादा सटल क्या है? तो बोलेंगे वाटर है. वाटर से ज्यादा सटल एयर है. सो इट गोज ऑन बिकमिंग सटलर लाइक दिस. साउंड, ईथर बिकम्स मोर सटलर. साउंड वाइब्रेशन, ठीक है, ईथर. और आकाश हम बोलेंगे, इट बिकम्स मोर सटलर. बट सोल is not in this category itself. Soul is something which cannot be affected by matter. So matter एक covering है, dead है, but that matter becomes living when there is soul. So we can say a tree, a beej or a seed actually has a soul, and when that seed is sown, from that soul actually body comes, and then lemon tree is there. Okay, lemon seed is there. A big tree will come and so many lemons will come and so much citric acid will be there. So matter is coming, but that is because of soul. If soul is not there, then matter will not grow. So matter comes, combines, and because of consciousness of soul or the function of soul, the permeation, soul permeates throughout the body. That's why the matter sustains. So soul is part and parcel of God. Yes. Can the state of control senses last long? In my experience, it rise and fall. Yes, very important question. I tried to control my senses, but after some days it again goes down. Then after some days again. So Krishna tells about this in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says we have to do abhyas. By abhyas it is possible. By practice it is possible. By mind control it is possible. So there is purification process which has to be done, and at the same time control of senses. Both have to be done. If you don't do the purification process, that is practice of spirituality, then our sense control is not possible. There are many great people who have challenged others that I have controlled all my senses, but later on we see that they fell down. There are many people. If you know about them, that is great. I don't want to discuss about the names of people, but there are spiritualists, there are politicians who have fallen down from their position of great leaders. They have been called as greatest among the people. They used to carry many spiritual literatures with them. But if when we go deeply into their life, sense control is not possible. Sense control is not an easy thing, but every time we control our senses, every time we do abhyas, we become more and more stronger in that thing. At the same time, we are developing our spiritual purification also. So both of these things together can help us control our senses for longer times. So 6th chapter will make it more clear. In 6th chapter, there is functioning of mind, which is discussed everything. So I'm telling you, if you go through all these 18 chapters journey, you will be totally a different person with a different mindset, with different intelligence, different discriminating power. What priorities we give right now in our life and what priorities we give later will be totally different. Arjun wanted to give up fighting, give up everything, but after Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, Arjun fought, and he fought for Krishna. So he fought as his duty, he did it perfectly. So at the end, Arjun says that, whatever you have told, I have understood that, and I will do karishye vachanam tava. So भगवद गीता से क्या होना चाहिए? भगवद गीता सुनने के बाद में हमारे अंदर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होना चाहिए. There should be some change in our life, and that's why we are requesting all of you to implement these small things in your life, spiritual activities, along with the study of Bhagavad Gita. You should have your Bhagavad Gita, you should read from that. At the same time, you should practice chanting of the holy names. Chanting, why we are focusing again and again and focusing on chanting? Because in Kali Yuga, there is no other process ठीक है, better than chanting for purifying oneself for attaining God. In Satyuga there was a process by which आपको तप करना पड़ता था, तपस्या करो, फिर उसके बाद त्रेता युग द्वापर युग में यज्ञ करो, बड़े बड़े पूजा करो, ये सब प्रोसेस थे गॉड को अटेन करने के. बट कलयुग में क्या है? For Kalyuga it is Harinam Sankirtan, that is chanting the names of God, and we see that everywhere. In every religion you see the names of God are chanted. Muslims, they also carry beads. Christians, they also carry their rosary beads or glass beads or whatever. They also chant names of God. Warkaris, they chant Ram Krishna Hari. Okay, Ram Krishna Hari is beach mantra of this mantra only. Hare Krishna and Ram. These three things are there in that also. So same. So it has come from this mantra only. So what we say, every religion will tell you to chant names of God. So that is very important part, chanting names of God, and that only with the help of that we can cross this ocean of nuisance or darkness. So we request all of you that if you wish to have transformation in your life, then you have to practice some spiritual activity. At the same time, getting the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will help you. So with this we would like to stop. So thank you very much. Thank you all of you for coming. And if you have some more doubts, you can put it in the WhatsApp group. There we will address. I will be very happy to address your questions. Hare Krishna. We'll meet tomorrow.